Guys, next performer coming up, you know him as GoatVsFish. You see him on America's Got Talent. He's performed all across the nation. Also with Green Jellÿ. Guys, give it up for Michael Allen, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Allen, not as GoatVsFish, but a guy that looks like he could work for, I don't know, Caltrans or something like that. I don't know what that sweater you're wearing.
It is still goat versus fish. It is still goat versus fish. The flames, they came for goat versus fish. The fences were high and dry, that versus. And in came the great wind of the one true question. Are you goat or are you fish? And the question burned hotly across Los Angeles, where the lands meet the seas, but the wooden fence post stood there with recalcitrance, and the wooden fence post did dry and dry and dry until it did die and burst into flames of unanswered questions. Yes, it was the burning fences. It was the burning fences. If only they had answered the one true question of goat versus fish. And no, they burned and they came for goat versus fish. Now look at goat versus fish. What has become of goat versus fish? What has become of goat versus fish? But out of the flame it came. Out of the flame, no, you, shut up. It's goat versus fish. You listen to goat versus fish. This is the most important critical verses in your entire existence, and you say shut up to goat versus fish? It is still goat versus fish. 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 Are you goat or are you fish? Well, we do not claim to know you. That's why we are asking if you are goat or if you are fish. It has to be a fish. It's basic verses. Listen, we're not saying the fires were your fault. We're just saying a lot of fences burned that verses, and fences sit on fences. Out of the flame it came. Out of the flame it came. It was the original crown of goat versus fish. The original crown of goat versus fish. The original crown of goat versus fish. Completion with towels on the inside absorbing the sweat off the brow of the very hard versing goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Celebration for goat versus fish. Celebration for goat versus fish.
Why am I having a conversation this far away from you? I don't know.
Goat versus fish can be perceived from miles around in space. They can perceive goat versus fish.
We don't have to go that far.
Oh, we go that far, and we also go very close. Next verses, you know, goat versus fish is going to be very close to you.
No,
And we are going to ask if you are goat or fish. We know it hurts. Goat versus fish. We did not say it would be an easy versus. But it is goat versus fish. Make some noise for someone. Celebration. It's the first verses. And lo, and goat versus fish. It's Mia Sushi on Laurel Canyon. Make some noise for Mia Sushi. It's a place that has fish. They serve fish there. They serve fish. We're not certain if they serve goat. Kind of goat exclusionary. They only serve fish. What's with that verses? But the flame came nowhere near them. They're just fine. But it is a place that's in Los Angeles. So celebration for Sushi Mia Fish, local goat versus fish, the local support of goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Invite goat versus fish into your home. Goat versus fish. Appreciation, apologization. This one, apologization to goat versus fish. Celebration. Celebration. Are you goat or are you fish? Are you goat or are you fish? But look! It's an ancient first edition shirt of goat versus fish. Actually, there's even more ancient verses, but this is a classic verses. It's goat versus fish. It's goat versus fish, and it asks behind you, are you goat or fish? When goat versus fish is looking at you, even when you don't think goat versus fish could ask you. We ask you because you are already following goat versus fish. Goat versus fish versus goat versus fish. Goat versus fish versus goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat Celebration for goat versus fish. And make some noise for fishbone. Fishbone. Celebration for fishbone. Apropos goat versus fish. Celebration for fishbone. Make some noise for playing out. Celebration. I'm gonna get on the verses of the fish and goat. Celebration. It's such a fine verses. The rolling stone, it's a thing of goat. Goat climb on the stone and then it rolls where? To the sea of the fish. The sea of the fish. Goat versus 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 fish. We saved the crown of goat versus fish, a shirt of goat versus fish, and the guitar of goat versus fish. Everything else was destroyed by flame on my verses. But I saved goat versus fish.
That's a tough bracket.
Fire in the disco, fire in the disco, fire in the Taco Bell. Fire in the disco, fire in the disco, fire in the fence of hell. Don't you want to know why we keep starting fires? It's my desire, it's my desire. Say, don't you want to know why we keep starting fires? It's my desire, it's my desire. Danger, danger. Hot verses when we goat, when we fish. Danger, danger. Hot verses when we goat, when we fish, when we goat, when we fish. Goat and fish are on fire, but the verses don't tire. Goat and fish on fire, but the verses don't tire. Goat and fish on fire, verse is getting drier, it's a hot, hot verse. Oh, goat and fish dancing, goat and fish romancing, it's a hot, hot verse. Oh, what to do on a night like this? Sweet verses we can't resist. We need a goat versus fish song, so the verses burns all night long. Get off your bum 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 bum. It's a hot, hot verse. It's a hot, hot verse. Of goat versus fish. Celebration! Follow Goat versus Fish at Goat versus Fish. Final verses, are you goat or fish? Celebration, there's time to figure out goat versus fish. There's time to figure out goat versus fish. Celebration!
Guys, go for goat versus fish, ladies and gentlemen. Goat versus fish. We got one more musician in this little block, and then we're going to go to V and a little bit of a surprise, and then close it out with some more music and comedy right after that. But guys, next musician coming up, he'll be your feature artist next week.